What's going on, Jerome? What's going on, Poppies? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day out there to those who celebrate. Thanks for coming along. Daily Jerome's live stream, 11 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday. Thank you very much for making us part of your day. A lot of questions, so we'll dive on in. Elijah Alsop, Slater, Parsons, Rousseau, Horn, Pay, and Barmore all at 14 and can't trade down. Who you picking? So no Darisaw. So no Darisaw, I'm gathering. Slater. I'll take Rashawn Slater. And I'm going to play him at left tackle. I don't know if he's going to be able to kick inside the guard. T-Rag, why do we consistently draft weak, fast interior linemen if it hasn't worked in years? Get a tank in there. I'm trying to think, what's the last true guard that they've actually drafted? I guess Drew Samia. But Ezra was a tackle by trade. Oli Udoh's a tackle by trade. Kyle Hinton was a tackle by trade. But it all goes back to the scheme fit, because you want guys able to get horizontal and get to that second level. But it's a big drawback, man. Because, so say, for ease of math, 50-50 run pass, even though, it's not the case. And say the Vikings are a predominantly zone team. So say they run 70% of their runs zone. So 35% of the job is the requirement for 100% of it. So if someone does 65% of the job well, they're a great power running blocking offensive lineman and great as a pass protector. You're just taking that off the table. Yeah. Ebbis Warlick. I've been seeing Adam Thielen trade rumors, which I don't know where it's from. We started it. No, I don't think they're going to trade Adam Thielen unless they can get like significant draft capital or an immediate starter. So the Thielen to Baltimore, who have a need for a wide receiver, for Orlando Brown Jr., maybe. Astro Zeo Sports. Sad to see Rudy go. Did you see the video on Twitter where Rudy reads all the letters from kids? Yeah, it was a couple years ago when he was nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year. And yeah, it was definitely just got you right in the feels. Elijah Alsop. In the trade Hunter mock offseason, you traded up to 8 for Trey Lance to beat Denver to quarterback. Would it be possible to trade Kirk for Denver's number 9 pick then? Maybe. It's possible. I don't know if that at that stage, depending on what Denver has done in the offseason, like if they say they sign Fitzmagic, then I don't think that they're going to trade for Kirk. I mean, if they get leapfrog for a quarterback, it's whatever. They'll roll with Drew Lock, and they'll look for a quarterback in 2022. T-Rag, just saw the Chargers are expected to release Linval, bring him and Cordero in to plug holes at defense tackle, and kick return might as well be Bridgewater and Adrian Baccalaureate. I actually don't know if the Chargers are going to let him go. I understand he was okay last year, sort of playing out of position, but Brandon Staley's going to come in, install a new defense, so maybe he gets cut there. The Chargers actually are in decent cap shape and don't have any real pressing needs. Cordero, I don't think they'll bring Cordero back. I would be fine with bringing Linval back, though. MIT03, Weatherly was hanging out with Afadi on Afadi's Instagram. Thoughts on having him back? I would be fine with Weatherly back as a rotational D-end playing inside on passing downs. Yes, absolutely. Rohit and Apati. After Trevor Moehrig and Javon Holland, could you rank the next 5 safety prospects? All right, so Richie Grant, number 3. Well, Holland and Grant, stylistically different, but about the same level. For me, Moehrig is still 1. I know that there's been some takes where Richie Grant is the number 1 safety. I'm not ready to go that far. The next 5, I'll just do them in order. So Moehrig, Richie Grant slash Javon Holland. Then I'll go Andre Cisco, Syracuse. I might go Ardarius 5. Yeah, prior to TCU. I just love the way he plays, man. Baby Bob Sanders. Let's get it. Paris Ford next, coming out of Pitt. And then one more. James Wiggins from Cincy. Put Hufanga from USC in there as well. There's a lot of good safeties in the draft, man. Andrew Hansen. Opinion on this offseason scenario. Cut Barr and Rudy. In. Resign Wilson. Reef back on a pay cut. Sign a mid-tier guard. Trade down first to get a second-round pick. Draft BPA with first pick. Package second-round pick with some sweet draft capital. Well, it isn't automatic that you're just going to get a second round pick by trading down the first, but I'm in there with the premise. Yes. Hairfine. I keep seeing the Eagles taking quarterback mock drafts that you react to, and I really don't understand. I think unless Wilson somehow falls to them, taking quarterbacks too. Well, I've thought about this too. And even though Howie Roseman is there and he was the GM who took Jalen Hurts, I feel like that draft pick was more about Carson Wentz than it was about Jalen Hurts. And if they have a quarterback at 6 that's on board, say, probably not Wilson, but say if it's Fields, if it's Trey Lance, if it's Mac Jones, and if they think one of those 3 is better than Jalen Hurts, go with them. And under the premise of, hey, you have both these guys fight it out in training camp and even into the season, since there's probably not going to be a preseason, and to the winner goes the spoils and the loser leaves town. It's okay having 2 young, good quarterbacks if they haven't established who's going to be the top guy yet. And you just trade the other guy out of town. The other guy will still have trade value. Like if, say, Justin Fields is in at 6, wins a starting job, 2022, Jalen Hurts is going to have trade value. Or if Jalen Hurts dominates and Justin Fields proves that he is not the guy, he's going to have trade value. So initially I was against it, but after I thought about it for a while, it does make sense for the Eagles, who are completely rebuilding with, I don't even know the head coach's name. What was that douchebag's name? Eagles head coach. Nick Sirianni. Very good. He looks like an NBA G League coach. He's on the sidelines. Nick Sirianni leading the Iowa Wolves, or whatever the teams are called. Next up, Rohit and Apati. Keep getting confused between Onwuzurike and Odigizua, both D tackles. Which one is better in your opinion and why? Well, depends on what you're asking them to do. If you want a straight up legit 3-tech, well, neither of them are really that, but I would go Odigizua. So UCLA, Washington. Onwuzurike, a little bit lighter. I don't think right away he'll be a 3-down player. Maybe if he adds some size and strength, he'll be able to hold up on running down, so maybe he will be eventually. But Onwuzurike has just an unreal first step. Like, he is a one-gap penetrator. So if you want to bring him in as a rotational guy on passing downs, just put him on the D-line and just go at it, yes. Both of them notably played all along the defensive line for their respective teams. Odigizua, sometimes you'll see him listed as an edge rusher. He did play a little bit of edge at the Senior Bowl, but I think he's going to be a defensive tackle by trade. Maybe he does get some D-end work in the right situation, or maybe he goes to a 3-4 team and plays that 5-tech spot. But given my choice, I would go on Onwuzurike because you already have the penetration. He's already got a role to play right away. And then eventually he can fill out his repertoire. Where Odigizua, I do see him more as like a high-end Jalen Holmes when he was coming in out of Ohio State, where he can play all the positions, but jack of all trades, master of none sort of situation. But I do like Odigizua in the 3rd, 4th round area. Smartest JX. Have you heard about the Niners' interest in Teddy? Do you think it's possible they might be trying to acquire him in order to include him as part of a package deal to the Vikings get Cousins now? I don't see the Vikings running back with Teddy. Zimmer would. I don't know if Spielman or ownership would, though. But, man, it's rough. Where initially when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, they're going to cut Jimmy G, and then they'll get Teddy. Teddy and Shanahan. But, no, Teddy has a backup to Jimmy G. That's a slap in the face. It's unfortunate. R-Free. Drop a Kyle, move up a little, and draft Kyle at the same position. So go get Kyle Pitts. Man, Kyle Pitts and Irv Smith would be gross together. They would. And don't think of Kyle Pitts as a tight end. No, he is an offensive weapon. So say the Vikings go 12 personnel. So they have 1 running back, they have 2 tight ends, they have 2 wide receivers. And those 2 tight ends are Kyle Pitts and Irv Smith. And the wide receivers are Thielen and Jefferson. I mean, how do you defend that? Like, do you play base and then they end up going 4 wide on you? Or they go empty, they line up Dalvin out as a wide receiver too, and your ass is stuck in base defense? Good luck with that. Stanley Morris. Or if you go nickel, we'll just bunch up and run it on you. Whew. Stanley Morris. A few live streams ago, I commented on post June 1st cuts. Vikings didn't designate Rudy a post June 1st cut, even though it would have freed up an extra $2 million and change. Why wouldn't they do that, especially in this cap trap year? Because it would just kick his cap hits down the road. So his base salary, see if they still have his contract up. If they don't, we might have to go looking in the old database. They probably don't. They might have. Nah, they got rid of it. All right, so let's take a look here. Rudy, PNG. So they weren't going to get out of the cap hits. It was just a question of when they wanted to take on those damages. All right, so we got it up here. Enhance. Zoom in and enhance. Come on, come on, come on. While we're young, let's go. I need a new desktop. Maybe we'll take some of the Venmo, put it towards the desktop. So Kyle Rudolph, his proration of his signing bonus. So you had how much was the signing bonus? A $7.25 million signing bonus. So the Vikings cap hit is 3 years of that. So that totaled up to $4.35 million in 2021. Now, they could have designated a post-June 1st cut. So they would only have had 1.45 million dead against the cap, which, would have been kind of nice. So they would have had cap hits in subsequent years of 1.45 next year and 1.45 in 2023. So they take all 4.35 or whatever of that cap hit in 1 year, and then next year they're free and clear. So you're not going to get out of the dead cap that is owed to, well, not owed to Kyle Rudolph, but is owed to the salary cap. But it's just a question of when. Now, the Vikings, if they were going to make a big move and they're betting on the salary cap going up in 2022, 2023, yes, that would have made sense. But since they're probably going to play a pretty conservative, just getting rid of the cap hit now, makes sense for them. Max Kallenberg, what do you think the next move is after Rudy? Are we roughly even the cap right now? They're roughly even with the cap. Different sites say different things, but they're for the top 51. They're at about 184, about 186, somewhere in there. So split the difference, say 185, and the cap floor is going to be 180. So there is some work to do. I think the next move is going to be Shamar Stephen, freeing up $3.75 million in cap space. So I think that he's going to be the next one cut. Westworld, how good would Bradford have been if he stayed healthy? Well, depends where he would have stayed healthy. If he would have stayed healthy in St. Louis, I think he still might have been there, and frankly, the Rams might still be in St. Louis. But if he had stayed healthy, I kind of agree with Rudy. If he would stay healthy, I think the Vikings win the Super Bowl in 2017. I like that as a nice little passive-aggressive shot at Keenum, by the way. And I think Bradford would have been Kirk Cousins with better decision making, so a top 8-ish quarterback on a given day. Game of Jones. As someone who doesn't watch college football, what are the main differences between the Big Ten and the SEC? Speed is key. Where SEC, players down south, they're just faster and they're just larger. I mean, they just are, right? Especially if you get in the Alabama, Louisiana area, especially Florida. I mean, it's just different, right? And Big Ten, occasionally you'll get fast guys from the Midwest. Occasionally they'll get a recruit from down south, but generally it's because the SEC schools didn't want them. So that's why you see whenever Bama, Ohio State, or you go back historically through some of the bowls where it's just speed. Where Big Ten teams will have size, especially in the trenches, but in the SEC you have size and speed. You do, and that goes for outside the numbers, wide receiver, cornerback, but also, just like linebackers too, where you do not see a rangy linebacker in the Big Ten, besides Micah Parsons, respect. Look, Micah Parsons would be, a normal linebacker in the SEC. You look at Patrick Queen. You look at why am I blanking on his name? Oh, Devin White. There we go. Devin White. That year when Devin White and Devin Bush were the two linebackers taken in the top 10. There's a difference between Devin White and Devin Bush, man. There just is. So that is the main difference. Where Big Ten, Frankly, I think Big Ten football is kind of boring. That's coming from growing up in Big Ten country. It's still 3 yards and a cloud of dust. It's whatever. Astros Zeo Sports. What free agent should the Vikings call up right away when free agency opens? Leonard Williams. Probably Shelby Harris. Yeah. We're looking at mid-tier guys, so like Shelby Harris, Ethan Posich, get him on the horn. Robbie, thanks for content. Hey, thank you. Stanley Morris. Trade down to 19, AVT, JC Horn, Trevor Morig, Mac Jones still on board. Which of those 4 are you taking? I will take AVT. Now, I've warmed up to AVT, done a little bit more film work, and at the end of the day, that cliche, you come away with a dude that you can plug in at left guard and you feel really good about. No, he's not going to be a tackle. Put him at left guard and you're good to go. You're okay. Where JC Horn will be tempting, Morig will be tempting, Mac Jones. I'm still out to lunch on Mac Jones. I really want to like him, but the hyperbole was like, well, he's Tom Brady. Okay, maybe. Hey, let us know where you're watching from and give a couple shout outs. Let's see here. Robbie, where does Kirk Cousins rank in 2020 starting quarterback play? Top 10-ish. Yeah. Ezekiel Lockhart, number 1, Smoke Gouda or Hard Parm? We'll take Hard Parm. Number 2, Wilds. Yeah. Every time anyone talks about hockey. Miles. What makes good defensive line? What makes a D lineman good in a 4-3 versus a 3-4? Well, in a 3-4, those defensive linemen, they got to be stout and they got to be playing 2 gaps. Where if you're a defensive lineman in a 4-3, generally you're playing a single gap, or sometimes nose tackles will be responsible for. If you're lining up at 0 tech, you're going to be responsible for both A gaps, and that's why guys like Linval Joseph and Pat Williams and Michael Pierce are so good. But in a 3-4, your nose tackle is always taking on 2 gaps. Your defensive ends are playing 5 tech, so generally head up. Well, sometimes head up on the tackle, sometimes inside, sometimes outside. But you're going to be responsible for those B and C gaps. So that's why you do see, conversion-wise, so 3-4, so nose tackles are going to be universal, right? But defensive tackles in a 4-3, like 3 techs, if they're going to move to a 3-4 team or they have some hybrid skills, you're going to see them at defensive end. But even though it's not really an edge rusher, even though it's still a similar name, it's still the same name as a defensive end in a 4-3. So think about Steven Tuitt with the Steelers, who's a 3-4 defensive end. And then you think of a guy like Daniil Hunter. Like they're 2 different players that they played 2 different positions with 2 different responsibilities. So just think of 3-4 defensive linemen, all as defensive interior guys, because your edge rushers are your stand-up outside linebackers, your Bud Duprees, your TJ Watts, etc. Whereas defensive, it's a little bit more specialized on a 4-3, where you have your edge rushers as your defensive ends, you have your 3 tech who's generally responsible for a B gap, and then your nose tackle takes up 2 gaps some of the time, right? Josh Imset, if the Vikings keep Cousins and his current contract with that huge cap hit of $45 million in 2022, he gets abducted in aliens in 2022, which quarterback should the Vikings look to draft that following offseason with the number 1 overall pick? Gosh, I don't even know. Who's going to be up in the 2023? Desmond Ridder might go back for his 7th senior season, I guess. 2023 NFL. I don't know. Maybe Kedon Slovis goes back. USC. Maybe Spencer Rattler goes back for a senior year. I don't know. The only mock draft up is Walter Football. God bless him. Walter Football puts in that work. CJ Stroud from Ohio State. DJ Claire. Also, why is the internet run so slow as we're staring at this Verizon ad? Come on. Oh, he was a freshman. Oh, so he was a true freshman. So, yeah, DJ Ugalele. I'm not pronouncing that right. Don't care. We'll figure it out later. So, a couple shout-outs. Preacher Paul, hauling it for all of y'all. On his way back from L.A. What up? Mark Sonnenberg, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Andy Shong, Duluth. Atrazio Sports, St. Cloud. Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Mike Benham, Grand Rapids. John Lynch, Dallas. Pulford School, as a burp. Nashville, Tennessee. Cody Brown, Skull from Oregon. Preach Paul. Park City, Utah. What up? What up? Missed you, man. Matt Slade, Skull from Hawaii. Aloha. McNiller and Sons, Skull from Arizona. Andy Shong, Duluth. Brock Swanson, Casson. Duke the Bang Yang, St. Paul. I don't want to know the genesis of that name. Viking Jerome, Visalia, California. Mark Riemann, DC. Hunter Williams, Green Bay. Blah. There's still some very fine folks on both sides over there. All right. Thanks for coming along. Make us part of your day. Next up, D. Taylor. Someone sent me a wire for sound clip of the 2009 Viking Saints playoff game. Winfield looked at Pat Williams and said, "I can't believe we're going to the Super Bowl. It was right before the last pick." I hope that's not real. I really hope that's not real. Miles, should we sign Tayshaun Bauer again just for fun? I think the Patriots are okay with him. I actually think he played last year. Let's take a look. Tayshaun Bauer. Yeah, he's on the Patriots. So the debate with Tayshaun was always Bauer or Afadi or Bauer and Weatherly. And I like Weatherly and Afadi more, and apparently the team did too. Westworld, what do you think Zimmer saw in Teddy that made them connect so easily? I think Zimmer respects genuine people, and Teddy is one of the most genuine people that you'll find, not only in the NFL, but in life. Plus, Zimmer, his first shot at being a head coach, potentially his last shot at being a head coach. Plus, he drafted your quarterback in the first round. That's going to be your guy. You're joined at the hip. And I think that Zimmer did see a genuine father-son relationship there with Teddy. And, after Teddy's leg gave out, it broke his hat. Also, it helps that Teddy was perfectly fine with running the ball. And, of course, that's what Zimmer wants to do. Edwin McCain. What do you think of drafting Pete Werner in the late rounds as Anthony Barr or Wilson replacement? I do like him. I haven't done enough film work on him to have an educated opinion, but first blush, I do like him. Common sense. Actually, I haven't done a ton of linebacker work. Mainly just Micah Parsons, David Collins, a little bit of Nick Bolton, but I haven't really dove in like I should. Common sense. Because of the lower cap, do you think a lot of free agents will remain unsigned until after the draft? It's a possibility. Or agents will advise their clients, hey, take what you can get now, because, it's not like the cap is going up anytime soon, man, this offseason. So, get your butt in a camp before they're flooded with rookies. KC Cryan, Skull quit, Shamar, Reef, cut, keep, trade, go. I'll cut Skull quit. I'll keep Reef. I guess I'll trade Shamar, even though there won't be a trade market for him. Griffin Krieg, Kyrov was a man. Indeed, he was. Miles. What kind of impact will Daniil Hunter and Michael Pierce have next year? Well, Pierce, two-gapping, just absorbing bodies in the middle will make life a lot easier in the run game, as well as Eric Hendricks will be able to scrape without bodies getting on him. And Daniil Hunter, both an asset in the run defense game, setting that edge, and just getting after the passer. Yeah, two major additions. Go for audio. Slater, Devontae, Parsons, pay all there at 14. Who do you take? Devontae. And I don't look back. And I turn off comments. And I ignore all the haters. I'm taking Devontae. Woo! Stay in the Morals. If you had to pick between Haskins, EJ, Geno Smith, and Jamarcus Russell to start this year quarterback for your Minnesota Fighting Vikings, who would it be? I would take EJ. Because EJ was a good dude. He genuinely liked the game. He just didn't have enough talent. And Haskins, Geno, Jamarcus, you definitely question their passion for the game. And I'll take the lesser of all the evils. I'll take EJ. I feel like if you can build a decent team around him, you might have a fighting shot with EJ. The rest of them, Joshua Dubois. Based on the opponents for the Vikings, what do you think the record would be next year? Personally, I think 11-5. 12-5. Staying alive, win the North, move on with life. Eric Zerke. I'm rooting for the Cardinals next season, mainly for the potential of their defense. It's pretty much solid all the way around. Adding to it with speed and young talent in the draft, it's going to be fun to see. Yeah, if they can figure out cornerback, they're going to be pretty damn decent. If they get another safety opposite Buda. Griffin Krier. And if they hang on to Hassan Reddick, I don't know if they're going to be able to. Griffin Krier. Kyle Van Noy at the right price one time. I will take Todd Davis at the league minimum over Kyle Van Noy. Well, even taking money out of the equation, I think Todd Davis is a better player at this stage of their career than Kyle Van Noy. Brady Doran. Don't have a question, but I just want to say your nickname game is on point. The Grim Reacher, the Marion Barbarian, Tim Pop Pizza Ranch Dictator. Hey, thank you. The Grim Reacher was not ours. That's Daniel Jeremiah's. Respect, but yeah. Well, Cousins wanted to call Brandon Dillon the Marion Flash, but that's not fun. No, respect, and also gives an allusion to Marion Barber, the pride of Wazetta, the Marion Barbarian, and Tim Potts Pizza Ranch Dictator. I don't know. That one is us. A Skull. Trade Rudy and a third and a sixth to the Patriots for Stephon Gilmore. That ship has sailed. Chris Danny Hansen. How many future Hall of Famers has Spielman picked? So going back to his Miami days, probably none there. Wait, did he take Zach Thomas? No, he didn't draft Zach Thomas, right? Well, let's look. Wiki, Rick Spoon. Well, Zach Thomas should be a Hall of Famer. All right, so Spielman was essentially the GM of the Dolphins from 2000. When was Jason Taylor brought in? Oh, 97. All right, so I'm way off on these guys coming in. And Zach Thomas 96. I'm way off. All right, so PFR Dolphins draft history. And then he came into the Vikings. 2007 was his first draft. And PFR Vikings draft history. All right, so let's take a look. So 2000, he got fired in 05, I want to say. So 2000 to 05. If I remember right, their drafts were not very good. So no. Raymond Michael, no. Ugh. Yikes, son. So no. Brent Whitney, no. So no from the Dolphins. Vikings draft history. Oh, well, I guess we got Wikipedia. It's at PFR. And then 07. So Adrian, yes. Obs. So Adrian, yes, that's one. Other future Hall of Famers. Harrison, borderline. All right, we'll put that as 2. So Adrian Harrison. Daniil 3. Kendricks might have a shot, except he might end up in the Hall of Very Good. I mean, Dalvin, I love him. I don't think he'd be a Hall of Famer. O'Neal has to make a Pro Bowl first. I will go with Justin Jefferson. All right, so we'll say 4. Adrian, Daniil. We forgot one already. Harrison and Justin Jefferson. All right, we'll say 4. And then, of course, whoever is going to be in the first round in 2021. I guess Christian Darrisaw. The Dark Knight. There's an alternate universe where Jefferson fell to the Bengals in the second round. Which other receiver would you have taken in the class? I would have taken Ayuk or Denzel Mims. I don't. Well, not Mims. I would take Higgins. Yeah. If you're gonna make the ultimate quarterback, using every quarterback to ever exist. So mind, I will go Tom Brady. Arm, I'll go with. Well, arm strength, strictly, I'll take Brett Favre. Accuracy, I'll take Peyton Manning. Speed, Vic. Elusiveness, I'll go Lamar Jackson just for argument's sake. Size, I'll go Cam. Pocket presence. All right, so mind IQ, I'll go Joe Montana. Pocket presence, I'll go Tom Brady. Poise, I'll go Brady too. Swagger. I'm trying to think. There aren't any like all-time great quarterbacks who just had that swagger. I guess Dan Marino. Now, we'll go Brett Favre swagger, and we'll go Dan Marino arm strength, as well as his release. Both were good. Next up, that man dude. Would you take Justin Fields if he fell? Yes. Like, there are drawbacks on Fields, but there's a lot of upside too. And if he can fix some of his drawbacks, I think that he has the potential to be a very good quarterback in this league. So at 14, yes, I think that's too much value to pass up. Trent Doyle. Who are top 5 tight ends of Vikings history? God, I don't know. Rudy and Irv. Do we have to go to Joe Sensor? All right, so let's look this up. PFR Vikings all-time receiver list. I mean, does Visante Shanko make it onto this list? If he does, it's kind of sad. Even though, love me some Visante. Sorry, Visant. All right, so tight ends. Does it keep them in order? It does. All right, so Steve Jordan is the Boston yards. Rudy's the Boston touchdowns, and just touchdowns. So Steve Jordan 1, Rudy 2. Oh my God, Visante is number 3. Wow. Stu Voigt. I think Stu Voigt went to prison for something. Joe Sensor. Actually, we should check that out just to make sure we're not throwing anyone under the bus. So Stu Voigt. Oh, he was involved in a Ponzi scheme. Wow. And just a good old-fashioned Madoff. Let's go. He's literally making money. So I'll go Steve Jordan 1, Rudy 2. I'll go Kleinsasser 3. Gotta go Kleinsasser. I'll go Visant 4. And then I'll go Joe Sensor 5 just because I enjoy the burgers at his restaurants. There you go. Next up. If Irv can't stay healthy, does Conklin have the ability to be a tight end 1? Yes. Yes, he does. Casey Wall. What team do you think would be willing to trade a first for Kirk and Anthony Barr? Well, both of them? Probably not the Panthers. Maybe the Broncos. But also, George Payton, that's a double-edged sword because George Payton knows like the skeletons of Kirk and Barr. So maybe not. Except the say they traded both of them to the Broncos. They got 9, package 9 to 14. Go get a quarterback. You're going to have to. Manogiscus. I feel like if the Vikings trade Thielen, half the fan base will either stop watching games or be a fan team Thielen's trading to. Well, they'll say that, except no, they won't. The team is still larger than any single player. Ira, even if he is friggin' Adam Thielen. Ira Coffin. It's like how every single election, this isn't a political point, but people of the opposing side of the party that got elected were just like, I'm moving out of the country. And then no one ever does. It's exactly that. It's just stupid, empty, hollow saber rattling. Ira Coffin. Is there such a thing as zero tech? Yes. What are some notable zero techs if so? Basically, any 3-4 nose tackle is usually going to be head up against the center. So we'll look up the chart. Let's see. Football technique chart. So zero technique just means head up. One technique is going to be the outside shoulder of the center, but we'll look at the chart and then we'll get into like 3 tech, 4 tech, 5 techs. All right, so here we go. That's a good one. Zoom in and enhance. Actually, is there a better one? That's a pretty good one. All right. Well, poop. All right, so there you go. Center, right guard, right tackle, blah, blah, blah. So nose tackle is going to be that 0 or 1 tech as a traditional nose tackle. Now, 3-4s are generally going to be head up. 4-3s are going to be shaded, whether you're playing a 4-3 over or under. So 3 tech is going to be on the outside shoulder of the guard, and their responsibility is going to be that B gap. So when we're talking about 3 tech, just blowing up that B gap, there you go. Now, for 5 tech, it's going to be generally 3-4 defensive ends are playing that 4 or 5 tech. So you're going to be either head up or shaded to one of the shoulders of the tackles. And then, we're talking about, the wide 9, Jim Johnson, God rest his soul. Eagles, like when Trent Cole and like Jason Babin of the Eagles would line up like 5 yards outside of the tackle or tight end. That's the wide 9. So generally, open side of the field defensive ends. So right defensive ends, if you're facing your strong right formation, and so just head up against left tackle, are going to be outside of this 5. So they'll be at 6 if you want to put a number on it. And closed side of the field tight ends, closed side of the field left defensive ends, like Danielle Hunter, if he's got a tight end in his face, is generally going to be head up or slightly outside of him. So there you go. So that's where the techniques come in. That's what they're talking about when we talk about numbers and whatnot. All right. What's next? Oh, zoom in and enhance. Chris Hansen, is watching Vikings game stressful for you? No, because, we have no impact on the game, and whatever happens, happens. Husker, you probably answered this before. Who's your all-time favorite Viking? I would say Chris Carter for myself. Sort of vacillates. Randy Moss, always won. But the top 5 sort of goes back and forth. It's like Jared Allen, Chris Carter, Antoine Winfield, and Everson usually finds his way in there. I love Everson, man. I don't care if they call Kirk Cousins ass. That's astute. You just tell him how it is. Shoot. Tad Skull. Obviously, releasing Rudolph was the right move, but just for sake of discussion, if the Vikings were starting this offseason $50 million on the salary cap, do you think they would have kept Rudolph? No. Rudy, still like him, still has some good football left in him, but he did not deserve to be the 5th highest paid tight end in the league. Just no. McNiller and Sons. Andy is the GOAT. Damn straight. Skull. If Scherf and Thuney are available in free agency, we can clear cap for either. Who you take? I'm leaning towards Scherf. I'm leaning towards Thuney. There you go. Ron Peel. We'll be watching UFC 259 this Saturday. What I usually do is no. And then just manage to find the clips on Sunday because I don't know. I'm an old man. I don't stay up that late anymore. Usually 8 o'clock is the maximum. I know that sounds really stupid, but I like getting up early. So, some of these fights, some of the main events don't even start till 10:30 Central Time. So, no. Michael Merchant Robles. Who do you think will be a first-round bust, and who do you think will be a stud? Let's see, who has bust potential in the first round? I guess Rousseau. Who's going to be a stud? There's going to be a lot of studs in this draft, man. I don't want to call anyone out and say they're going to be a bust, even though I just did. But, yeah, I don't want to put that hex on anyone. Anthony T. Are you down cut Rudolph to draft Kyle Pitts? Sure. Merchant. Who do you think was better before the draft, Rieger or Jefferson? I think specifically what the Vikings needed to replace Stephon Diggs, Rieger, but Justin Jefferson sort of lapped that. Now, if Jalen can stay healthy, I think he certainly has a shot to be a really good wide receiver in this league. I still stand by that, but yeah. Pulford Sculpt. Thoughts on these free agent signings for the Vikings? Hendrickson, going to be too expensive. Michael Davis. I've been down on Michael Davis. John Feliciano. I like Feliciano. I love the attitude that he brings. Liked him on the Raiders. Bring Feliciano in. Alex Zeller. It's frustrating that Rudy could have been an amazing offensive weapon. Look at what he did in the Pro Bowl. He had a clutch moments, but it's far too underutilized. Well, they had other weapons. Irv was ready to rock and roll. Irv had more targets, catches, yards, and touchdowns than Rudy, even though he missed 3 games. And Adam Thielen just really developed as a red zone threat. So, what can you do? Madden Mobile. Would you rather have Deshaun at $40 million per year or Mahomes at 43? I'll take Mahomes at 43. Even though I really like Deshaun, I'll pay up the extra $3 million to get the name brand. There you go. But that's it. That is the Daily Jeromes live stream for today. Thank you very much for coming along. Subscribe. We got a lot of good content out there. We'll be back tomorrow. Skull, production value.